regular board meeting to order at 7:35 p.m. at Village Hall located at 2350 South 25th Avenue. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Ely.
Present.
Trustee Tierney.
Here.
Trustee Jones is absent. Mayor Thompson.
Here.
Trustee Horn.
Here.
Trustee Abraham.
Here.
Trustee Brown Marino.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we all have a moment of silence. Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda for tonight is communications. Got a couple of them here.
Public comments.
I'm sorry, did I skip public comments?
Yes.
Public comments, item 2. Madam President.
Thank you. The Village of Broadview encourage citizen input. Those wishing to address the village board under public comments must fill out the attached speaker form request and submit it to the village clerk prior to the start of the board meeting. I would then call your name at the appropriate time. When addressing the board, please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. I have one request, Ms. Amanda Grant.
Good evening, Mayor Thompson, trustees, residents. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. Several of you have noticed that we have some brochures in the back for the Westchester Food Pantry, and that's what I came to talk about this evening. The Westchester Food Pantry has been in existence for over 20 years, but 3 years ago, my friend Kathleen and I took it over. And when we took it over, we did a few things, and one of those things was to define a service area. So Westchester Food Pantry, I don't want people to be confused and think it's Westchester's Food Pantry or Westchester only food pantry. We actually serve all of our neighbors in Cook County. We serve 7 communities total, and that does include Broadview. So what I'd really like to ask for you is your help in getting the word out. If you know of anyone in need in Broadview, we certainly do serve them. We are open every Friday night from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. We do ask for proof of residency. Our client service area is limited to Westchester, LaGrange Park, Berkeley, Bellwood, Hillside, Broadview, and Western Springs. We do ask that clients bring reusable shopping bags whenever possible, just to help carry all their groceries home. They are allowed to shop for groceries. Of course, that's free of charge. And clients can come once each month to our food pantry. So if there's any way you could help us get the word out, we would certainly appreciate it. We have flyers back there. If you know of anyone in need, please feel free to grab them and take them maybe to your church or schools or businesses. We also have a flyer about if you're interested in helping. We always welcome volunteers. We always need help getting the word out for our outreach committee. We are having a yard sale in the summer, so we are asking people for donations, or if anyone wants to help out with the yard sale to help raise money to feed all of our clients. And then we also have a seedling sale that's happening in May as well. So I just really wanted to let you know that we certainly do welcome Broadview residents. We've done a few events here. We've done the National Night Out, I believe, for the last 2 years, which has been wonderful. We've had a lot of fun. But any help we can get, making sure that everyone in Broadview who needs our help knows that we're a resource, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. We are located at the Westchester Village Hall. We use the community room entrance, which is on the east side of the building across from the post office. And again, every Friday night, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. As long as you're there by 7:30, we will serve you. We do have a shopping format. So after you check in, you get to go and you get to shop from different categories. We do offer a lot of fresh produce, fresh bakery, frozen meat. So people leave with quite a bit. We also have we call it a wet nose pantry for people who have pets. We do have cat and dog food for people who need it as well. So, okay. Thank you so much.
What was your name again?
Oh, I'm so sorry. My name is Amanda Grant, and I live in Westchester, so I'm your neighbor to the west. Thanks.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, neighbor.
Thank you.
Is that it for public comments, Mayor?
That's it.
All right, next on the agenda is item 3, communications. And just piggybacking on what Amanda just gave us, here is the flyer. I'm just gonna go over a couple of items real quickly on it. Trustee Brummerino asked where. It is at the Westchester Village Hall, located at 10300 Roosevelt Road, in their community room, every Friday from 5:30 to 7:30. And you must bring an ID or documentation that show that you are in the service area to be able to shop. Some of the items that they do have, again, she mentioned Wet Nose, which is cat and dog food. They have cereal, jelly, pasta, rice, beans, soup, peanut butter, oatmeal, fresh produce, fresh fruit, frozen meat, and canned vegetables. Okay. Next, we have communications from the fire department, and this is for immediate release. Broadview Fire Department providing smoke alarms and fire prevention education through Be Alarmed program. And on that note, I'd like to quickly turn it over to Chief Kenny, who can speak more about it. I've got 2 flyers here that I'm going to hold up as she's speaking.
We're actually doing a smoke detector program. If you have old smoke detectors more than 10 years old or you don't know, give us a call, specifically Anthony Moss at the fire department. He is working along with the Illinois Fire Safety Alliance and providing each home with 2 smoke detectors. Again, your detectors have to be aged, and you can't just come drop them off. You will do an inspection in your home and a safety inspection in your home. Nothing that's, liable or anything like that. It's just making sure you could have relatives or kids coming around for the summer. So you just make sure it's safe. But these smoke detectors, he doesn't have to install himself. And once he does it, you have to fill out some paperwork. So that he can keep providing people who need them. So for every 2 that we install, we send this back into the Illinois Fire Safety Alliance and we send this to more. So it's a program that will be ongoing until the grant runs out of money.
Thank you, Chief. This flyer is very, very important and good information on it. I'm going to actually scan this, submit it to our village administrator, and ask that we add this to the website, probably under the fire department tab. This is information that everyone should know. All right, next I have a letter from Chief of Police from Berwyn, and this is directed to our police department. Dear Chief Eugling, on behalf of the Berwyn Police Department, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you and your department for assistance rendered on March 22nd, 2018, in the successful apprehension of a suspect who had pointed a gun at 2 individuals and was wanted for criminal sexual assault out of Chicago. The suspect fled the scene, and with the assistance of Officer David Yurkovich, star number 74, Officer Mark Torres, star number 91, and Officer McDougal, star number 100, the suspect and driver were apprehended on I-290 near Austin Boulevard had a loaded firearm, which was recovered from the vehicle. Thank your officers for their professionalism and support, which led to a successful resolution in this matter. Please do not hesitate to call us. Working together does make a difference. Sincerely, Chief of Police Michael D. Simaglia. Last meeting, I announced that Aldi was hiring. They are still hiring. Wednesday, April 18th, which is this coming Wednesday, from 4 to 7 p.m., right over at the Aldi's in Broadview, 1001 Cermak Road. They're hiring for store associates, shift managers, manager trainees. And these positions range from $13 an hour all the way up to $88,000 a year. So I might be over there. Lions Club International. The Broadview Lions invite you to join us as we make no-sew blankets for donation to the local Ronald McDonald House, where the basement of the Broadview Fire Station, located 2400 South 25th Avenue, right next door. This is going to be Friday, April 20th, between 5 and 7 p.m. The more friends who come out to help, the more comfort we can share with those who need it. Can we count on you to volunteer? Email broadviewlionsclub@gmail.com. Mayor Thompson, that concludes communications for this session.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Next item on the agenda, item 4, consideration to approve the following minutes. Minutes from the April 2nd, 2018 board meeting.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Tierney, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Madam President?
No comment. Trustee Ely?
Oh, no comment.
Trustee Tierney?
None.
Trustee Horn? No comment. Trustee Abraham?
None.
Trustee Brown Marino?
I just wanted to point out that, and according to these minutes, the minutes for February 20th were supposed to be tabled to this meeting, but I don't see them on here. So I don't know for sure whether or not those minutes were tabled or if they were approved.
Those minutes were approved in the prior meeting. Exactly when, I can give you that information after tonight's meeting.
Is that it?
Well, as I said, I believe that the minutes that we're being asked to vote on now say that the February 20th minutes were tabled to tonight.
If there's an error, trustee, I'll be happy to make the correction.
Madam Mayor, it's been approved. Excuse me, Madam Mayor. At
Can
the
you read it
April-
out loud for the record,
Sure.
Trustee Abraham?
Mr. Clerk, maybe you can confirm this. We had the minutes from the February 20th meeting on the April 2nd agenda, and it was motion by trustee Horn, seconded by trustee Abraham, and it went 6-0.
So
Is
in
that what you
actuality,
have?
everyone voted affirmative?
Yeah.
Very
Okay,
good.
so-
Thank you, trustee Abraham.
Okay.
Well,
I don't know. You have it tabled from the last meeting. It's clearly in these, on April 2nd. It
no,
says
that's what I'm
tabled.
saying. For the April 2nd minutes,
Which page are you looking at, trustee?
it would be the top of the second page
Page
of
2.
the April 2nd minutes. First, it says there was a motion to approve, and then it says a motion to table to the next board meeting by trustee Jones, seconded by trustee Ely. That's why I'm saying,
Gotcha.
I thought they had been approved,
So
but,
let me say this, line 3 where it says motion to table, I'll take that line out and these minutes will be fine.
okay.
Here's the other one.
I'll make the
It
correction.
was tabled.
Okay,
I
thank you.
found that too. Madam Mayor, on March 19th,
We
it
got
was
it,
tabled.
Trustee Abraham.
Would you like a roll call, ma'am?
Yes, please.
But not on April 2nd.
Trustee Ely?
But we're voting on approving the minutes after striking that particular line,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney?
Yes.
Trustee Jones is absent. Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Brown Marino?
Yes,
Madam President, that carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, item 5, consideration to approve expenditures, grand total all funds, $287,946.81.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been properly motioned by trustee Horn, seconded by trustee Abraham. Madam President, open for discussion.
Trustee Horn, would you like to read the warrant list for us?
Okay. Alfred G. Ronan, $4,000. BNF Construction Code Services, $14,476.67. Commonwealth Edison, $2,661.93. Edwin Hancock and Engineering, $51,422. EJ Equipment, $3,252.71. Root Inc., $84,588.78. H&H Electric Company, $4,525.44. Illinois Counties Risk Management Trust, $3,610.76. M.E. Simpson Co., $5,550. Mecca Tree Service, $7,900. Is it pronounced Runyon? Runyon Equipment Company, $5,453.98. Sarge Range Services, $8,710. Signature Streetscape, $5,932.67. Unique Plumbing, $46,238.38. WEBQA, $5,460. Windstream, $3,579.04. Total of expenditures over $2,500, $257,362.36. Total expenditures, $287,946.81. Percent of total, 89%.
Can you read the manual check that was reissued for the record?
Manual check reissued, for check 70004 dated July 21st, 2015. Aftermath Inc., $105.
Thank you. Trustee Ely?
No comment.
Trustee Tierney?
No comment.
Trustee Horn?
None, thank you.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Trustee Brown Marino?
I have nothing.
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President, I'm sorry. Trustee Brown Marino?
Yes,
Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Jones is absent. Trustee Tierney?
Yes.
Trustee Ely?
Yes.
Madam President, that carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item 6, village officer reports. We're gonna have the first report from the building department, Commissioner David Upshaw.
Good Good evening, Mayor,
Good evening.
Board Trustees, residents. The building department report for March 2018 is as follows. For the month of March, we had over $89,000 in revenue. 82% of that was the permit and plan reviews. We also had 28 complaints. Of the 28 complaints, we had several were no contractor registrations, work being done without permits, no occupancy, and also garbage issues which were related to garbage cans being taken in out of the park. As the 911 committee continues to meet regularly. Right now, we just created a timeline, a project timeline for the 911 center, and we're working on completing drawings to be submitted to the village relatively soon.
Also, at the end of March, we met with the mayor, myself, and Director Ames Public Work. We met with Ross Financial Services regarding the senior and veterans housing. At this time, they have been selected, and we will be moving forward with a development agreement that will be before you shortly as it relates to moving forward with the senior and veterans housing process. Currently, we have 11 projects that are underway in the village of Broadview, which is a good thing. For those of you, I'll just run through them quickly. We got Buddy Bear Car Wash, which is on 19th and Cermak, the Strip Mall on 17th. They will be starting up shortly once the weather allows them to do so. Ashley Furniture, and I believe Ashley, I'm not sure, they were kind of talking about it, but I think Ashley is going to have an Ashley outlet right next to it. So that's just the FYI. MB Financial, they're almost done with their work. Ross Dress for Less, I anticipate them opening up in May. They're moving right along. And if you haven't been to our Target in our Village Mall, it's beautiful. They're almost done with their project. My understanding is that they have requested some additional parking lanes because I guess they're going to start making deliveries, as well as they will bring your contents out to your vehicle. You can just call them, set up an appointment, you pull into the parking stall, they come out and bring your items to you. River Oaks Properties, they have an interior-exterior renovation going on. Right now, the exterior is done, they're working on the inside. Lou Malinati's Pizza, I anticipate they'll be up and ready. They'll be up and running in May too, so that business application will come before the board. Also, we have the Broadview Public Library. That project just started. They're working on the demo. The village, just to give you a quick update as it relates to our roof, we did a final walkthrough. We have a punch list. Those items will be corrected within the next 30 days, and I anticipate that project to be completed by the end of May, and then we will move forward with our next project. Our next village project will be the 911. Mayor, board, residents, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Ely?
No question.
Trustee Tierney?
No comments, thanks for the report.
Trustee Horn?
No comment, thank you.
Trustee Abraham?
I do. I just want to thank Director Upshaw working with the resident with some cat issues. So I know that that's a project that's been going on, so I appreciate you handling that as well. Thank you.
Trustee Ron Marino?
I have nothing.
Thank you. Commissioner Upshaw.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, Finance Department, Finance Director Tim Hicks.
Does everyone, all the trustees have the report?
Nobody else.
It was emailed. The report was emailed, correct?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So revenues for the month of March was $3.1 million. Expenditures for the month of March was $2.1 million. So revenues exceeded expenditures by $1 million. Year-to-date through March 31st, revenue total was $4.8 million. Expenditures through March 31st Year-to-date is $4.5 million. So revenues exceed expenditures by $350,000. So this is 11 months, so we still have one month to go. So it looks like we're on target to meet budget for both revenues and expenditures. For expenditures, we are $20,000 behind budget, and so that's favorable, $20,000. For revenues, we are about $500,000 unfavorable to the budget with 1 month to go. So it looks like we're on target and on pace to meet or exceed budget for revenues, and we would probably be slightly above expenditures for the full year.
Nice.
So, any questions?
Trustee Ely?
None.
Trustee Tierney?
No, thank you.
Trustee Horn?
No, thank you.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Trustee Brown Marino?
Yeah, I've got some questions about the budget and budget hearing. We were told that the budget hearing was supposed to be tonight. We were told that at the last meeting, we were told that at the Finance Committee meeting. And the Suburban Life, on April 11th, there was a notice published in the Suburban Life that said the budget hearing was supposed to be tonight at 7:30 p.m. Now, as I came in, I looked at the window out there, and there is a notice that was supposed to be published someplace also on April 11th that says that it's going to be Wednesday. What's going on with the budget hearing?
The budget hearing is Wednesday at 7:30. We were trying to keep with the schedule to have it tonight, and so that's why we went ahead and we submitted to have the public hearing in the paper to Suburban Life, and before we could get back to them, for them not to run the ad, they had already ran the ad because we had tried to rush it in. It was published in the Sun-Times, public notice for the meeting to be Wednesday at 7:30.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you, Director Hicks.
Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda, Fire Department, Chief Tracy Kitty.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees.
Good evening.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't sell it.
Right?
There it is.
It's working.
It's working now.
In the month of March, we responded to 232 calls, 140 ambulance calls, and 92 engine calls. These included 3 structure fires, 1 investigator box, and a structural collapse. We filled out 54 contract calls. During this month, the officers had training in grant writing. Fire had combined training with North Riverside for railroad emergencies. And for EMS, Loyola Hospital requires us to have 3 different certifications now, ACLS, PALS, and PHCLS. This was our year for ACLS. We do this every 2 years, so we overlap them for budget reasons. We are now doing pre-planned action plans, and in the morning we meet for 15 minutes. We discuss a building or a residence or an apartment complex in town. And we discuss the building and what to look for, and then we go out for about 15 minutes, coming back from a call and review it. Police and fire attended training and information meeting on Rescue Task Force on March 13th. A Rescue Task Force is a combined effort with police and fire in active shooter situations where we coordinate together to remove victims from a scene. Right now, we're working on getting bulletproof vests and helmets that I hope are approved at the next meeting, because we do go in with police on these scenes. We currently have riders from Triton College. Triton College riders will have a red shirt on. They are EMT students. We will have them during spring. Over the summer, we have Triton students on the engine as our fire program. And in the fall, we will have Loyola students doing ride time for the paramedic program. This is great for us. We have extra hands, and it keeps us on top of all of our skills. We have 8 paramedics being recognized at Loyola Breakfast this month for a life safety award. For 3 saves that we had in cardiac arrest in the last month. I'm pressing hard on the cancer awareness initiatives, lung, thyroid, and breast cancer on the rise, so you will see us making big changes in what we do, keeping our masks on at all times, after fire bagging our equipment, and doing a good wipe down of our face with supplied cleaning wipes. We are currently working on our Heinz contract for EMS with lawyer Tiffany Jaworski. Administrative Assistant Chris Murphy and I just had a meeting with them, so that's in the process. And that is it for me for the month of March.
Thank you, Trustee Ely.
No questions. Thank you.
Trustee Tierney.
No questions.
Thank you.
Trustee Horn.
No, thank you.
Trustee Abraham.
None.
Trustee Brown Marino.
I have nothing.
I have one.
And I forgot something too.
Okay, the response to the 3 structural fires, where were they?
We had 2 fires in Maidenwood and 1 in Bellwood,
Okay,
not in this town, I should specify that.
thank you.
Also, May 12th is our blood drive. Please get out there. We're actually posting it everywhere right now, but we desperately need blood donations, especially over the summer. It becomes a very big need. Also, the 29th, and I will again have these flyers next meeting that we have, the kids are doing their annual pancake breakfast to raise their funds for going to camp, these 4 kids. So please come out for that. It's a great event, and they do such a good job. That's it.
What was that date?
May 12th?
I'm sorry, May 12th is
For the blood
the
drive.
blood drive, and I believe the kids is the 29th, that Sunday of Labor Day weekend.
Of May?
Yes.
Okay, we'll make sure that
I'll
information get out.
positively get out. I was hoping to have it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda is Police Department, Chief Kevin Ugling.
Good evening.
Report for March 2018. The police department responded to 1,361 calls in the month, processed 5 sex offenders. 39 cases were assigned to the Detective Bureau. In all this year, 104 have been assigned to the Detective Bureau. Training for the month, 911 concepts, close quarter handgun skills, breach point, surveillance, first line supervisor skills, active threat and rapid deployment, and truck enforcement. Officers also assisted the funeral of Officer James Davis, who was a Bellwood officer that was murdered in Michigan. His services were at Broadview Missionary Baptist Church. We also attended the Teachers Night within the school at McDonald's. The Citizen Police Academy has begun. Our 3rd class has started. I believe it was on April 4th was the first class. The board approved the sale of, we have 3 decommissioned squad cars that we put on auction. Happy to say they were all sold. We grossed over $16,000 total sales, so that will be forwarded to the finance. We also received a distracted driving grant from Illinois Department of Transportation. So the week of the 16th, which is this week, and through the 30th of April, we received the grant to pay the overtime. So officers would specifically go after the distracted drivers with the cell phones. So they're paying that overtime for us. April 28th is it's a prescription drug take back day. This is the national drug take back. We do have a box in the lobby, but that's put on by Cook County. This is the national drug take back day. So April 28th between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Any prescription drugs that are brought in will be put separately, and that will go towards the national effort. And reminder for Cop on Top, our annual collaboration with Dunkin' Donuts for Special Olympics will be on May 18th from 5 a.m. till noon. We'll make sure that the flyers, I'll be sure to get on the website to get that out there. And that's my report.
Thank you, Trustee Ely.
None.
Trustee Tierney.
None.
Trustee Horn.
None, thank you.
Trustee Abraham.
None.
Trustee Brown Marino.
I have nothing, thank you.
Chief, I would like to say the Broadview Citizens Academy, actually Trustee Abraham and myself is in this 3rd cohort. And the officers that's doing the training, any resident, I encourage you to participate in this class. I'm learning so much, and I'm sure Trustee Abraham is learning a lot as well, but we are really gonna be promoting the Citizens Academy for the community to take advantage of. It's something that everyone should partake in. It's highly recommended. Highly recommended. It's an excellent class taught by some wonderful officers. They're doing a good job. I can't wait to see what's going to happen on Wednesday night. You know, it's like they leave us in suspense to the next week. So, but it's a really good class. So thank you for that. And then congratulations on help assisting Berkeley PD. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Chief. Next on the agenda, Public Works Department, Director Matt Ames.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees.
Good evening.
Everyone in attendance. Summary report, which is on file with the clerk's office, for the month of March concludes with the transition from snowplows operations to spring activities that include cleaning and replanting of annual flowers in the 80 acres area, cul-de-sac planters, road planted boxes, potholes being filled, and street surface crack seals are performed when the weather permits. Spring tree planting includes turning and adding soil, fertilizing and mulch to trees. We have planted within the last 2 years. Most of March we were out. We were without significant head counts due to off-site training, vacation, medical leave, and sick days that were applied to department personnel. Lastly, the acceptance of the contracted group included the collection of yard waste, which has begun with the collection that are probably sticker bags. So, any questions or comments, Mayor?
Trustee Ely?
Just the first part, you mentioned some of the crews were off-site for training. Where and what? No, it's a good thing.
These are still the two that are in the fire academy.
Oh, okay.
Trustee Tierney?
Nothing else.
Trustee Tierney? Trustee Horn?
No comment, thank you.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Trustee Brown Marino?
Nothing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Next on the agenda, Administrative Department, Village Administrator Leticia Jones.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees. I want to know, I don't have a report, but I wanted to get permission in order to read something that came in the mail today to us.
Okay.
I don't know if you all know, but we have an awesome senior that works in our administration department. Her name, if anybody knows, is Miss Mary Love. I received a letter today of where she was nominated as Celebrating Leadership, one of the volunteers recognition. And it says that you, Mary Love, have been selected by the age option to be recognized with other volunteers at our annual luncheon and volunteer recognition. It's called Celebrating Leadership. I don't know if you all know, but Miss Mary started with the age option program 5 years ago. That's how she ended up here in our wonderful village of Broadview. During that time, she serviced not only the residents of Broadview, but she extended herself to feed the homeless, clothe the homeless, cook and feed the families of churches, and also she used her own money. So I just wanted to let our mayor and our trustees know that we have a celebrity in our presence, Miss Mary Love.
Miss Mary Love, can you stand up?
So Mayor and trustees, she's gonna be awarded her certificate for appreciation on Thursday, June 14th at 11 a.m. at the William Tell Holiday Inn, which is in Countryside, Illinois, 6201 Joliet Road, and that will be on Thursday, June 14th at 11 a.m. So, Miss Mary, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Trustee Ely?
Thank you.
Trustee Tierney?
Thank you.
Trustee Horn?
Congratulations.
Trustee Abraham?
Congratulations.
Trustee Brown Marino?
Congratulations.
Ms. Love, we appreciate all the hard work you do for us in the village every day. So I just want to say thank you and congratulations.
Okay, that concludes item 6, our village officer reports. Next item on the agenda, item 7, old business, we have none. Item 8, new business. Item A, a resolution authorizing and approving an agreement with Edwin Hancock Engineering Company for the furnishing of professional engineering services related to the facilities plan preparation for the 2018 IEPA loan application for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It has been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Horn. Madam President, open for discussion.
Thank you. This is a resolution to authorize and approve an agreement with Hancock Engineering for the provision of professional engineering services related to the facility plan preparation for the 2018 IEPA loan application for the village. Article 7, Section 10A of the Illinois Constitution authorizes units of local government to contract or otherwise associate with individuals, associations, and corporations in any manner not prohibited by law or by ordinance. Trustee Ely?
Well, I'm not going to ask many questions. I'm gonna let Chris and our finance director explain to us what this is, why we need it, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, hold on. Trustee Tierney?
I have nothing.
Trustee Horn?
No comments.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Trustee Brown Marino?
I have no questions until I hear what Chris has to say.
Chris, can you approach the mic, please?
So we met with village staff a couple weeks ago, and it was talked about having to apply for an IEPA low-interest loan. It's a loan through the government that, can't remember the rate, it's 3% or lower, and it's, it'd be good for the village. To get one of these loans, we have to have a facilities plan, which is basically an inventory of our current water infrastructure sizes, length, study of water rates, etc. So it's not that hard of a report. It takes a while to put together. There's a lot of data that has to be gathered, but it's a necessary part of the application process.
So just let me elaborate on that when we talk about having a facility plan. With the village, when I became the mayor, what we didn't have was a comprehensive plan. The last comprehensive plan was in 2006, so it's outdated. So we talked about doing a strategic plan and a comprehensive plan, and all of that comes transportation plan, a facility plan. This is just part of the plan to add on to either a comprehensive plan or a strategic plan. We're looking at one more vendor to give us some information before we bring it to the Board of Trustees to review. So we waiting on the UIC to give us the information and for what we're looking for. So this is something that we're gonna need anyway. Whether we go after the loan or not, we're still gonna need to have a plan in place.
Cool? Okay. This is just for the facilities plan?
Yes.
Just a contract with your?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I'm done.
Trustee
I
Tierney?
have nothing. Thank you.
Trustee Horn?
No comment, thank you.
Trustee Abraham? Trustee Brown Marino?
I'm good.
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Ely?
Yes.
Trustee Tierney?
Yes.
Trustee Jones is absent. Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Brown Marino?
Yes?
Madam President, it carries 5-0.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next item on the agenda, item B, an ordinance establishing the reimbursement of all travel, meal, and lodging expenses of officers and employees for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It has been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Horn. Madam President?
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The purpose of this ordinance is to adopt a travel expense policy for the village pursuant to Public Act 99-0604, otherwise known as the Local Government Travel Expense Control Act. Non-home rule units of local government are required to establish regulations with respect to allowable travel, meal, and lodging expenses. As we start going through some of our policies and procedure, we identified that the board never approved or authorized a travel policy. So the purpose of this is to put a policy in place and to be in compliance with the state of Illinois. Trustee Ely?
Well, I looked, in the ordinance, it referenced the GSA policy and.
The General Service Administration?
Yeah.
Okay.
Their policy and, their costs, whatever. We were close to that, anyway, but with inflation, things go up a little bit, so we'll still be right in line. But I noticed that this particular written policy, it requires that anybody needing to travel get permission in advance, and approved by the board, that's going to be a little cumbersome, especially for police and fire, when they have scheduled classes, training, etc. But at the same time, it's good because we've had some employees that have done travel, incurred incidental costs, you know, without any approval, we just simply get the bill afterwards. So it's, we may need to fine tune this a little bit more, but it's a good policy, I agree with it.
Okay, so just let me clarify what you said, that the corporate authorities have to approve. That's not actually true. It says to provide such documents as would assist the corporate authorities in considering your request for reimbursement. So we have a process in place. When a department head or anybody that's want a request for travel, they fill out the request form. The request form, name of the employee, the job title, the name of the event or program, and then the employee sign off on it. Once it get approved, we actually, I think I gave it to, let me see that one, yeah. So when I first became the mayor, we had absolutely no forms or anything in place for anything as it relates to requests for time off, days off, so we created a form. And the form clearly states it's got the employee name, signature, department, if it's a sick leave, a personal leave, vacation, training, or conference workshop. And it has to be approved or it may not be approved. And then we have, if it's required, so it don't have to be approved. Once an employee goes on a travel that's authorized or a legitimate travel, we have a travel expense form that they have to fill out. And on this form, it states the date, mileage, fuel, travel, hotel, meals, etc. As long as it's within the budget guidelines, the expense is approved. It's just when it's not in it costs more than what the allowable is. So the allowable is more than $2,000, which no trip ever costs that much. So we in compliance with what was presented. Trustee Tierney?
Well, I don't see it as a problem. If they're going to a scheduled conference or scheduled training session, they should have plenty of time to fill it out and get it to us, so I don't think it's a problem.
It's not last minute either. Trustee Horn?
I got all my questions answered before, so no comments, no questions.
Trustee Abraham?
Good, I'm glad we're tightening up the policy and having a paper trail.
Trustee Brown Marino?
So I just want to be clear on this. Are we as board members, because from what I'm reading in the ordinance, it says that the board has to vote on, where was it? The board, expenses for travel, meals, and lodgings of, one, any officer or employee that exceeds the maximum reimbursement allowed, or any member of the corporate authorities. So I'm assuming that means whatever, it's not only a matter of whether or not it exceeds, the corporate authorities will have to vote to approve any travel expenses for members of the corporate authorities.
If it exceeds the maximum threshold, yeah. So, but typically what happens, just so you know, typically what happens when a department head submit any travel or conference that they want to attend, they do it probably 30 days prior to the event taking place. Because we kind of know when those things are gonna happen.
Okay. Now, it looks as though it's acceptable either way, whether it's an estimate of the expenses are submitted in advance or if the receipts are turned in after the fact.
Typically, receipts are turned in after the fact, only because you don't know when you go out and you expense for meals, you don't know what the upfront cost is gonna be. So what you do is you fill out your travel reimbursement form, you attach all your supporting documentation, and then if once we do the review of the documentation submitted based off the conference that's attended, then we will submit a check request for a check to be cut to be reimbursed to the employee. Most of the department heads that do travel, they have a village credit card, so we track expenses through the village credit card as well. And also, if you go out to the U.S. General Service Administration, that's the GSA, they have a per diem rate for Illinois fiscal year 2018. So the rates are going to fluctuate year to year. So we just got a policy in place, but we should always refer to the per diem rate for that fiscal year. So if you would like a copy of that, I have that tonight for you as well.
Okay. And then on the travel expense form itself, for fuel, it's reimbursement for fuel only if prior approval is given. There's also mileage. So I assume it's either or. Either you submit for to be reimbursed on a mileage basis or on a gas receipt basis.
So typically what happens is if you base it off of mileage, it's based off the federal guidelines, which I think is 54 point something percent. So you bill off of that and you tally that up for the mileage. If you bill it off of, they say since you go into Springfield and you may drive your own personal vehicle, So what you may do instead of, you may do gas receipts and then submit all your gas receipts, but keep in mind you can't do gas receipts and reimburse them.
It's one or the other.
It's one or
Especially
the
if you have
other.
an electric car.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Ely.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Jones is absent. Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Brown Marino.
Yes.
And Madam President, that carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Honorable board members, just a reminder, when you have the floor, if you can please be kind and speak into the mic so they can pick you up in the recording. And if you have a private conversation, if you have, can you all hear me in this? If you have a private conversation, kindly turn away from the mic so that's not picked up on the recordings. Next item on the agenda, item C, an ordinance amending Title H, Chapter 9 of the Village of Broadview Code of Ordinances regarding the regulation and licensing of small cell facilities in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Tierney. Madam President, open for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend the village code regarding the regulation and licensing of small cell facilities in the village. Section 11-80-1 Esquire of the Illinois Municipal Code provides that the village is authorized to regulate the public right-of-way, 65 ILCS 5/11-80-1 Esquire. I don't know if the other legislators are following the legislation as it relates to the small cell facilities, but the discussion that's taking place in Springfield is where, say, utility company may want to come in and put a device on any of our poles in the parkway, and we have no control over that. This ordinance clearly states that we want to be able to control that and implement our own costs instead of they just come and putting up their cell phone towers without permission. Trustee Ely?
Well, yes, I understand the reason for the legislation. I know there's another legislative move where they're gonna take that power away, you know, so we're sort of under the gun. I agree with the intent of the regulation. The only problem I had is that there were certain sections in the regulations that gave the Public Works Director to approve an application, to approve variances and several other things. I thought that would have been the responsibility of either the zoning board or the village board. There may be an instance where a contract is to be negotiated for large sums of money, and it appears that the Public Works Director would have the authority to sign into a long-term contract for a large sum of money, and I thought that would be squarely the responsibility of the village board. So I just have a problem with some of the language, some of the authority, some of the responsibility, but the intent of the ordinance I totally agree with. I'm done.
Thank you, Trustee
No
Tierney.
additional comments.
Thank you, Trustee Horn.
None.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Trustee Brown Marino?
Just that I would ask if you could expand on the idea of what kind of variances and how the variances would be approved by the Public Works Director and not go through the zoning board process.
Well, the ordinance doesn't preclude or prohibit co-location of personal wireless telecommunication facilities on the towers or the manholes, so I don't have that data to give to you at this time.
What? Oh, because you turned away. I couldn't hear you.
The personal wireless telecommunication facilities, this ordinance does not preclude or prohibit co-location of personal wireless telecommunication facilities on towers or monopoles that meet the requirement as set forth elsewhere in the section in the ordinance. I don't know if you guys took time to read the ordinance, but it's in the ordinance. We don't have that data right now. Anything else, Trustee Brown Marino?
I gotta confess, I don't understand what it is that you're saying about that. I did read the ordinance, and on page 16 of, it's page 39 of the big PDF.
You asked a
page
question
16.
about public works. It's in section 8-9-24-4.
Yeah, it will.
Page 11.
Is that what you're referring to when you talk about public
Well, there were several mentions.
You don't have the floor, Trustee Brown Marino does.
Okay.
You're talking about the state statute?
No, it's in the ordinance.
You guys asked the question.
Okay, the 8924-4. That's in reference to what?
The permit placement, application, and fees for personal wireless service in the right-of-way. You asked about the ordinance as it relates to the zoning. It's in that section.
Okay, what I'm looking at is page 16, which is paragraph 11, variance requirements. And it says that they must meet all the requirements of this section unless a variance has been obtained. And then it says if a variance is required, the application goes to the Public Works Director. The Public Works Director shall decide on an individual basis whether a variance is authorized for each provision of this section. That's the Public Works Director may authorize a variance only if the applicant, and it goes on to give the circumstances. But again, when we're talking about a variance, the procedure is that goes to the zoning board.
As it states in the variance requirement, it says an applicant requesting a variance from one or more of the provisions of this section must do so in writing to the Public Works Director as part of the permit application. So typically what happens when we do zoning or variance, it goes to the department head, they write up the language that needs to, for the variance, if it's for the zoning board meet, and then they come and bring it before the board for final approval. So I'm confused on what you're saying.
So what you're saying is that if the Public Works Director determines that a variance is needed, it will go before the zoning board?
It has to.
Because that's not what it says in here.
Application requesting a variance for one or more other provision of the section must do so in writing to the Public Works
Right.
Director as part of the permit application. That's part of the application process. So, Mr. Attorney, you want to elaborate?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The term variance is often used, or is a form of relief that is provided for, recommended by the zoning or planning zoning board, or zoning board of appeal. If you read on page 4, the term variance is a variance for this section. And read, for purposes of this section, the following term shall have the following meaning, goes to variance, and then it goes to variance shall mean a grant of relief by the Public Works Director or his or her designee. That is separate and distinct than what would be known as a zoning variance. For example, you can't build on something because of a setback. The term variance, as two of the trustees have pointed out, is often used in zoning related issues. But that is separate and it's called out as distinct in this. I'm going to pull this section to show us on the record. Section, I believe the mayor did cite this too. Section 8-9-24-1.1 definitions. And Mr. Clerk, just for clarification, in case anyone comes back and reviews this, if we can make sure that the minutes reflect that statement.
They will, Mr. Attorney.
Thank you.
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Brown Marino. Roll call, Trustee Brown Marino.
No, I know, I'm thinking.
All right.
I'm not ready to vote on it, so I'm going to say no.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Jones is absent. Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Ely.
I really wish you hadn't cut off debate, so we could get perfect clarification on this issue and what we should do. I'm not comfortable signing off on this yet either. So, no.
The vote goes, sorry.
Yes.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
recognize. Thank you, Madam Chair. The vote is a vote of the effect corporate authorities. Of course, then the chair, as the president, has a vote on this matter. The vote is in the affirmative from the chair, the vote in the ordinance does carry. If the vote fails tonight, then we would be locked into the state regulated, everything within the state regulations. As stated, the corporate authorities, and I'll be very brief, the corporate authorities were correct. The legislation is evolving. There are trailer bills or other bills coming through, but if this does not pass tonight, we will be locked in solely with the state.
Thank you, Mr. Tony, I appreciate that. Madam President, your vote?
Yes.
And this carries 4-2. Next item on the agenda, item D, a resolution authorizing and approving an agreement between the Village of Broadview and Edelson PC to provide certain services for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Tierney. Madam President, ready for discussion.
Thank you. The purpose of this resolution is to authorize and approve an agreement with Edelson PC for certain services related to opiate litigation. Article 7, Section 10A of the Illinois Constitution authorizes units of local government to contract or otherwise associate with individuals, associations, and corporations in any manner not prohibited by law or by ordinance. Trustee Ely?
Well, I am in total disagreement with this one. First and foremost, I understand the existence of the MDL, where a number of state's attorneys and attorney generals are suing the opioid manufacturers, you know, for damages and costs, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, we're a small village. If we were to join the suit, we would hire an attorney to join the suit. We're getting a very small piece of the pie. And then the attorney for this company, they want 32% of anything they recover on our behalf, when in actuality, there are two other entities working on our behalf. They won't have to do anything. The Cook County State's Attorney and the Illinois Attorney General are both part of the MCL in fighting the several opioid companies. Then, out of the 32% that Edelson PC would get, the mayor of another suburb is going to get, it was 20 or 30%, I don't have it in front of me. It's almost as if we're in the business of ensuring that he gets a piece of the pie, working as a fact finder, because he was able to talk Broadview into hiring this firm. This is just bad news all the way around of the Village of Broadview. We are entirely too small to get wrapped up in something and open the door for some other community to run, control the government in the Village of Broadview. I'm done.
Thank you. Trustee Tierney?
I have nothing.
Trustee Horn?
No comments.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Trustee Brown Marino?
Well, first of all, I shared Trustee Ely's concerns in that, first of all, the Village of Broadview, we don't have the same type of losses and expenses because of opioids that entities like Cook County or the City of Chicago does. We don't offer treatment, we don't, you know, those type of things as well. I do understand we've had some issues. I'd asked the police department about this a while back. We have had need to use the narcotic, or whatever it's called, that pulls people out of an overdose. But I'm not aware of any other real damages that we would be claiming. Now, as Trustee Ely was saying, there was almost 200 cases filed in federal court by various government entities all across the country, going after the manufacturers, distributors, doctors, et cetera, having to do with the opioid epidemic. And all of those cases were consolidated into what's called an MDL, and it's mentioned in this agreement, multi-district legislation or litigation, something like that. That's grown to over 400 lawsuits that have been combined. And one of the things I learned as I was reading about this over the weekend is that as the discussions about possible settlement, all of these entities, the distributors, manufacturers, are looking for some sort of settlement that would keep them from having to approach over and over and over, you know, various different suits moving forward, especially in state court. And one of the things that they're talking about is some sort of a big payout where the resources would be distributed not only to the entities that filed suit, but to the entire country. And the reason I'm going into this, the reason I'm bringing it up, is that in this agreement, it says that the Edelson and Mayor Serpico would get their percentage regardless of whether we receive any kind of recovery whether it comes from a recovery, a settlement, judgment, or if it comes because of some sort of changes in regulation or legislation. So it just strikes me, the chances of the Village of Broadview getting much money out of this or much resources is slim to begin with. If we would get something, chances are we may be part of a bigger picture anyway. But on top of that, this goes way beyond just representing us because we want to get into the litigation. And I see it as, I just don't like the way it smells, frankly. I realize, and I'll say this now because I have a feeling this is what we're going to be told, that this is a no-loss situation. The village doesn't have to pay anything unless we recover something. So you could say, well, why not go ahead and roll the dice? But frankly, I don't think that's what our courts are meant for, number one. Number two, what happens in this kind of situation is the lawyers are the ones who are the big beneficiaries, and especially if they want to tack it on with that. On top of the idea that we also would be responsible for their expenses, and when you look at the number of clients that this firm, Edelson, has already gathered together and is still trying, like with us, still trying to encourage to come on board, not only in Illinois, but I found an ad for Edelson on the Michigan Municipal League website, for example. When they want us to reimburse them for expenses, not out of our pocket, but out of whatever recovery we may get, including if it's through legislation or something like that. When it comes to the expenses, it strikes me that with all of the clients that Edelson has, how is he going to determine this is Broadview's share of expenses? Or is it, I'll just see how many people I can bill? I mean, when you get somebody who treats this as a potential payday, I wouldn't put anything past them. So for all those reasons, I really oppose this. That's all I've got.
Trustee Horn had a question or a comment.
So within the legislation, it does say this, and I'm gonna just read it verbatim. If we do file suit on behalf of the village, we will represent you on a contingent fee basis. The village shall have no obligation to pay EPC attorney's fees or expenses unless the village achieves a recovery, settlement, and/or judgment in an opioid matter. In the event that the village achieves a recovery, settlement, or judgment in the opioid matter, the village agrees that Edelson PC will be entitled to recover attorney's fees according to the following schedule. And then it lists a breakdown of the schedule: 23% of the net recovery, 28% of the net recovery, and some other definitions. The only reason I was bringing it up is that, okay, these are a group of individuals who are going to investigate a matter to see whether or not there's a potential dollar amount we can realize on behalf of the village. The investigation first has to take place. And so we don't know what we don't know unless somebody takes the time to investigate and find out. So unless the parties that be are gonna make the argument that they're willing to investigate, I'd rather investigate than to say I don't have anything I can realize within the situation that's already out here. We don't know what we don't know, so I'm okay with investigating a situation to see whether we can realize something versus being ignorant to the situation and saying, no, just forget about it. There's nothing out there. I'm willing to table it and we can discuss it and get more information, but there's nothing wrong with allowing people who are skilled in the Pacific arena to investigate a matter to say whether or not you have the potential to recover something, regardless of how small it is. If I can get $50 from my mom and dad, I want my money. That's just me, but we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, so they're going to investigate. They're not going to charge us anything. Of course they're going to make money off of it because they're the ones doing the legwork. You know, so the individuals who are saying something, while I can appreciate their sincerity and, you know, they don't want to see the village be taken advantage of in any type of way, the reality is that they're not attorneys, they don't have a firm, and they literally don't have the manpower to do this type of investigation to see whether or not we can realize something. So that's my position, but I'm willing to table it if they want to, do further investigation and get more
Superseding
information.
motion to table.
Don't cut me off like that. You're older enough to know
Oh,
better.
you're absolutely right. I
Thank you.
apologize.
Thank you.
I thought, okay.
And so that's my position. Thank you.
Superseding motion to table for more information.
Second.
Okay, we have a superseding motion by Ely, seconded by trustee Horn, to table this matter
Till the next meeting.
till the next meeting. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Okay.
Madam President, would you like a roll call on that?
Yes, please.
Trustee Ely?
Yes.
Trustee Tierney?
No.
Mr. Attorney?
I'm sorry.
We are meeting, in 48 hours.
Oh.
You said the next meeting, does that mean,
Next regular
No regular.
business meeting.
so your motion was to, at the next the first meeting in May? Is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay, was that your understanding of the second?
No, my understanding of the second for the next meeting would have been Wednesday.
Well, I've received no official notification that we got a
It's posted.
meeting
It's
minutes.
posted.
It's been properly posted.
He also
If-
said during, like, 10
And he
minutes ago.
brought it up.
Yeah,
Huh?
he also said it 10 minutes ago that we were gonna have a meeting, so.
No, he didn't, he just talked
Yeah, he
about the
did.
hearing.
Okay, do this all over again. Your second.
My second was to table till the next meeting, which will take place on Wednesday.
Okay.
Excuse me, trustee Horn, let me just clarify. We have
What's wrong with
set
that?
for the schedule, and it has been properly posted, on Wednesday, April 18th at 7:30, a hearing for the budget, a budget hearing, and then at 7:45, we have a special meeting to approve that budget.
Do you want me to make?
Currently,
Let it go.
if you would like to add that, Mr. Attorney, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been
Let
posted.
me ask, trustee Ely, because we've all read the legislation, we've done our investigation, and it's 2 more days. How much time, 10 more days, that's ridiculous, that you would need that type of time. You are a legislator. And sometimes, let me finish, please. And sometimes as a legislator, you get things at the last minute that you have to make a decision on. So you should be able to articulate, get your questions answered. We give out the legislation in ample time for you all to do due diligence, to be respectful of the people that come to our regular board meetings, and it's always very disrespectful to not get your questions answered prior to. So how much time do you need? Do you really need the first meeting in May, or do you need the end of May? Or Wednesday is sufficient time because you've had this in your inbox since Friday?
Well, actually, I'm flexible. If the majority agrees, I can see a Wednesday. But the reason why I asked for the next regular meeting is because over the weekend, I did read the legislation.
Okay.
And I Googled some things and I researched some other things. I needed that time for the rest of the board to do some serious reading and considering and to come to a
Be
decision.
responsible for yourself.
One thing about Wednesday, we would have a meeting that issue relative
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's not
on the
posted.
agenda.
So it would be the next meeting.
Next
I've already
first
sent
meeting
it
in May.
anyway today.
So let
I
me
take it
clarify
back.
the superseding motion by Ely. This is to table until the next regular board meeting, which would be the first meeting in May, correct,
Yes.
Ely?
Yeah.
And I have a proper second by trustee Horn?
Yes.
All right, Madam President, would you now like a roll call?
Please.
And that is on the motion to table.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Trustee
to
Ely,
the
this is
next
for the
board.
motion to table.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney?
No.
Trustee Jones is absent. Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Brown Marino?
Yes.
That motion carries 4-1 to table. Now we are going to have a roll call for, actually, no discussion.
For the record, it is tabled to the first.
May
regular
7th.
meeting in May.
Yes.
That's not bad.
No, I just want to make sure it's clear because there's a second, and I see this was the second one to be withdrawn at one point, so.
That's true. You're right.
Okay, so I know it's the May one.
May 7th. That's fine.
Okay, next item on the agenda. Item E, a resolution authorizing the intervention of council in property tax assessment proceedings for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It has been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Horn. Madam President?
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The purpose of this resolution is to authorize Delgado Law Group to intervene as counsel as property tax assessment proceedings for the village pursuant to section 16-55 of the Property Tax Code, where a change in assessed valuation of $100,000 or more is sought. All taxing districts shall have an opportunity to be heard on the complaint and shall file a request to intervene at least 5 days in advance of scheduled hearing. Trustee Ely?
Oh, I just had, one question. This is going to be the same hourly rate, his participation is gonna be same hourly rate as we've been paying him, or are there any additional charges or
No,
an
it's the
increase
same
for
cost.
this?
It's the same cost.
Oh, okay, that's all.
It's the same cost.
Nothing.
Trustee Horn?
No comment.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Trustee Brown Marino?
No.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Ely?
Yes.
Trustee Tierney?
Yes.
Trustee Jones is absent. Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Brum Marino?
Yes.
This carries 5-0, Mayor. Next item on the agenda, item 9, application for the authority to expend funds totaling $4,040.
Yeah. Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Horn, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Madam President?
Trustee Ely?
Actually, I was going to ask the chief of police to explain what this device is, does, et cetera.
Chief, can you explain what this is?
It's a portable speedboard site, it's called, it's solar power, and basically it's a radar. It's mounted on poles, if there's complaints within the neighborhood, you know, we can put it up, 2,300 watt kind of gas, 400 week or so, and it reaches speed, and if it exceeds the speed of the strobe, that flasher, it keeps data, so we know how many cars pass by. If we had to do a traffic study, we can use it for that also. So we can tell you how many cars have come past the zone, and it is portable, so we can keep around.
Will we write tickets based on the information? No? Then we're not gonna shoot anybody then for excessive. I got no more questions.
I have no question.
Trustee Horn?
No questions.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Trustee Brown Marino?
No, I make no questions.
Thank you. Can we get a roll call,
Yes,
please?
you can, Madam President. Trustee Ely?
Yes.
Trustee Tierney?
Thank you.
Yes.
Trustee Jones is absent. Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Brum Marino?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Yep.
Next item on the agenda, village clerk. Madam President, I don't have anything. Just wanted to let you know, based on our last board meeting where the village clerk gave the report, one of the things that we did talk about was going paperless. And the mayor has moved forward with plans to discover and identify a vendor that we can utilize in helping us reach that goal. So we're in the process with the department heads currently of finding a vendor to make that happen, and I think we made headway at the last meeting in finding one vendor. We're gonna take a look at a second one, and this is not only gonna give us a paper system, but it's gonna allow us to archive and increase our transparency with regards to residents and the public being able to see our forms and legislation and documents. With that being said, Madam President, that concludes my report. I'm really looking forward to that system.
Thank you.
Got one other thing. This is for the Fire Explorers. This is the annual Broadview Fire Explorer Pancake Breakfast. This is gonna be held May 27th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. right at the Broadview Fire Department, 2400 South 25th Avenue. It's $10 for adults and $5 for kids. We had a very successful one the last time we had this. And just so you all know about the Explorers, the Explorer program is a group of individuals between the ages of 14 and 21 who are looking to join the fire service in the future. To help us fundraise for the trip to the Illinois Fire Service Institute for the 15th Annual Explorer Cadet Fire School. This is a big opportunity for the fire department and the Explorers to help them develop fundamental skills so they can better protect the community that they serve in. This program not only teaches the fundamental skills of firefighting, but teaches teamwork, responsibility, hard work, and most importantly, integrity. We will also be raffling off a brand new Apple Watch at the end of the breakfast. If you have any questions on how you can help, please call the station That's 708-223-0256. That's 708-223-0256. And that's for firefighter Pat McGivney. Thank you. And lastly on the, well, I should say next on the agenda, Madam President, item 11, Katrina Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, community. So it's a couple of things that's taking place. On May 5th, we have in our second annual Community Shred Day. So it will take place here at Village Hall between 9 and 1 p.m. And then also at Schroeder Park between 9 and 1. So we're going to have two locations as well as with the Community Cleanup Day. Also, this is the month of autism. Open your heart to autism. That's why I'm wearing my shirt tonight, to represent those that's impacted with autism or other developmental disabilities. The Answer Inc. is having their annual walkathon at the Proviso West High School on May 5th at 12 noon. The opening ceremonies will take place this year. I am a co-chair in that, so I'm challenging all of the Broadview residents and our residents and our business stakeholders to participate in the annual walkathon on May 5th. You can visit the website, it's www.theanswerinc.org. We do have a team page, so you can register to be on the team page. Team Broadview is our team page. So we encourage you to come out, participate, and help raise some funds for these families. Actually, the funding that's raised during the Answer Inc. Walkathon, these families get an opportunity to go to a horseback riding camp for a week. So it relieves the families, the caretakers, of their duties that they do 24/7. Sometimes these people don't even have the opportunity to go to a movie because they have to care for their autistic child. So being able to provide them the relief for a week where they can have their children in a safe place for them to take advantage of, just having that downtime, I support that 1,000%. So if you guys could come out and support Team Broadview, I would appreciate that. I will be there after all of our festivities on May 5th. It's a busy day for us in Broadview that day. As we came up last year when I became the mayor, we wasn't a budget in place, so we put the budget in place and tried to stick to those guidelines on what we had put in place and not be over budget or not be under budget, but just to be have a respectable budget that we can all live with. So this year was the first year that I've actually got to work with the department heads to implement a budget. So in the next upcoming months, we're going to put understanding the budget process so that we can educate the community on what that looks like when we go into a fiscal budget. So this year, I think we did things that was non-traditional for the village as it relates on how we look at doing a budget, working with the department heads. And so we gave out a timeline for those department heads to meet with the finance team, so they met with them individually first, and they gave them their wish list. So that's everything that they want for their department if we had the money to do so. And when we came back, we put in a tentative budget. So as you all know, a tentative budget is tentative. It means in work, undecided. So we put that in so that we can hold ourselves accountable to a timeline and be respectful of, we want to be on a May 1st budget timeline and not be in June or July going back and forth with not operating in the fiscal year of a budget, because we could do better than that. So with that being said, when the department heads met with the finance team, and that's the budget officer and the finance director, they end up cutting some of that budget from there, but we still had, when you guys saw it, it was a deficit of, I think, like $1.9 million, but we knew we had work to do, but we had some time to do that, but we sticking to a timeline. And so with that being said, we sat in a room over the weekend, and we was not leaving that room until we had a balanced budget. And that's what we did, and this was the first time that was told to me that we have done, the department heads had actually participated in a budget discussion, and they own the budget now. So it's not just my budget or the trustees' budget, it's all of our budget. We are all on the front line for this budget. And I'm very pleased with the budget that will be presented to the trustees and to the community, and how we hold each other accountable to it. It took a lot of hard work to accomplish that task, and I think it's doable. I think we can do it, but we have to be, we had to cut back on a lot of things that we so accustomed to used to spending. We had to do some cutbacks, but we're okay with those cutbacks. But this is how we forecast. So now that we have a budget that we can function and operate in, and everybody has taken ownership in their respective departments, now we can start visualizing what we can do with less in Broadview. So we looking to entertain some more funding as it relates to how we look at getting grant funding, or how we look at putting ourselves in better positions at the end of the month. Myself and a couple of legislators that legislate with me tonight will be in Springfield to lobby in Springfield. So I hope that they have taken some time out to read some of the legislation that matters to Broadview so we can legislate to our elected officials. But I encourage them when they go down to Springfield, just don't lobby Representative Welch or Senator Lightfoot, because we can talk to them in their district office. You need to learn how to work between the lines and cross the lines and talk to the other legislators that legislate with them, because it takes all of them collectively to pass bills. It's not just one person, but they hear our concerns because they represent us. The other thing is, this is National Volunteer Week. I'm a huge advocate for volunteerism, a huge advocate, because what it does, it brings a solid foundation to a person that you can stand behind something that's good. So when Amanda came and talked about the food pantry, and I learned on Friday that the Broadview food pantry may be going away. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't talked to Mr. Payne, but I know it's some challenges there. The church called me. And so I reached out to the Westchester Food Pantry because I know they service the residents in Broadview, and a lot of our residents depend on that resource. So we want to make sure that we're in position to either volunteer or donate and raise monies to keep the food pantries vibrant in our communities, because people rely on that resource. You may not recognize it, but they really rely on that resource. So if you can volunteer some of your time to the Westchester Food Pantry, and as we get more information as it relates to the Broadview Food Pantry, we'll let you all know. So I know Ms. Redmond typically helps out at the food pantry. Maybe she can give us some information as it relates to the Broadview Food Pantry. But we have to learn how to partnership with other communities, and it was just the right thing to do. We already have the Broadview Westchester Water Agency. Mayor Gattuso and I have a really good relationship. Our chiefs for the fire and the police work well with Westchester. So to send all of our resources to Westchester to let them man it, I think it would do due diligence for us to participate and help them out as they serve our community as well. April 21st, I'm having a tea party for girls, 3 to 8. I think we almost filled up to capacity, so that'll be over at the Park District. So the little girls will have on their gloves and hats and fancy dresses, and we're gonna have tea. April 5th, I was honored and I'm blessed that I got nominated to be the Chicago Defender Woman of Excellence this year for us. So this wasn't an award that was for me, it was for all of us in Broadview, and I'm happy to say that I get to represent Broadview at a larger scale than just being, as someone said, this little community. We may be a little community, but we come with a real big bang. I mean, it's real big, and you may not recognize that, but we are. Also, I'm waiting on a couple of proposals, because I'm a big component of the Healthy Lifestyle Initiative. And when I was the director at the Broadview Park District, we had brought in the urban garden, community gardens, to create a healthy lifestyle, to create and promote walking and exercising. So I would like to bring that initiative back to the village because it's so needed. So working with Director Davis at the Park District, we're gonna do a healthy initiative for the community of Broadview. So we're gonna do a big event, one big event, and then we're gonna do every quarter where we follow up with those people to see how they're doing. So we're bringing in Loyola and some of our other healthcare partners to kick off this initiative, and hopefully at the county level and one day at the state level, there'll be funding opportunities where we won't have to use our own resources, but we can apply for grants, but the village have to be in position to be able to entertain certain grants, and that's why we're doing like facility plan and comprehensive plan, so that we're in position to receive more when the time comes. We don't want to be caught behind the 8 ball on that. The other thing, announcement went out this week with Representative Welch as it relates to the Opportunity Zone. So this is a federal opportunity where funding can come back to help us with economic development. And when he first made the initial announcement, he only included Maywood and Hillside. So I felt kind of slighted, and I called, and I asked him how come Broadview wasn't included in his announcement. And his response was that at the time, he didn't think we qualified, so I asked him what was the criteria. And I asked him to send me the criteria, and then I would do my research, and I would get back to him, and if I got back to him and Broadview qualified for it, would we have his support? Well, lo and behold, he had his people do their own research, and we do qualify for it, so we are included in it. And so they're gonna be making the, sending the information over to Governor Rauner so that we can be included in that, and hopefully we be one of the towns that gets selected for the Opportunity Zone. So it's just, you know, we work really, really hard, and some days it may not seem like we're working as hard as it looks, but we work really, really hard on behalf of this village because we all feel that greatness is here, and we are moving forward. Board docs, Clerk McGreer talked about the board docs. I think it's important that if we can go paperless, that would be good literally tonight, because I had kind of worked it out with my iPad, but this is all the paper that I had tonight. Typically, last meeting, I think I had almost 300 sheets of paper. And so we're just trying to reduce costs and look at the paper usage on, and I think as legislators, we can kind of control what we can do. The police may not be able to, but we can. So we're looking at all resources on what we can to reduce costs. And lastly, so back in, I want to say maybe August, I had made the announcement that doing some research, we came across that the village had not been responding to those offenders that owed the village, and we had a cost, an outstanding balance of $1.6 million. So we brought in a collection agency to help us recoup some of those dollars. Well, I'm happy to say the last 3 months since they've sent out the letters and been getting revenue, we've collected over $40,000. So that's a revenue stream that we are proud to say that although the number is high, but it's coming in a little bit at a time. So we've collected a little bit over $40,000. So hopefully by the year end, we can collect a little bit more to offset some of that cost. So I'm happy to say that. I think we got executive session tonight, but I want to say thank you and God bless you, and keep praying for us as we work to make this village much, much better than it is today. Thank you.
Thank you,
Move
Madam
to go
President.
To suspend the meeting and go into executive session.
Second.
So the motion by trustee Ely, seconded by Tierney to.
We have to list the purposes. To go into executive session to discuss litigation, appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, etc., and collective bargaining and negotiating matters.
Second.
Properly motion by trustee Ely, seconded by trustee Tierney. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, we are now going to executive session.
Yeah. We all get back.
stand up.
reconvene to the.
It wasn't even on that chair, if you sit down on the chair. When I walked in, no, it wasn't even on the floor. I swear to God, when I walked in, he was sitting, and I came to the chair, and I didn't trip over it.
General meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved by trustee Tierney, seconded by trustee Abraham to reconvene the regular board meeting at 9:20 p.m. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing none, Madam President,
Motion to adjourn.
we took no action in executive session. We are now entertaining a motion to adjourn the regular board meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Horn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, we are adjourned at 9:21 p.m.
What time did you get? 9:20?
21 seconds.
Yeah.
Thank you all.